So hello. I see the first people coming in. Thanks for waiting. Good morning. Good to see all of you. And if you want to grab a coffee, water, tea, whatever you need on a Wednesday morning, please feel free to. We'll give it another minute, just to wait for everyone to come in. And then we'll start with our special guest, Lilia, and just some general infos for the session. Looking very much forward to it.
Thank you.
You have water, Lilia?
I have water,
tea,
yes.
or okay.
I have water. So I can.
Yeah, let's give it another 30 seconds. Well, actually, I see attendee list is filling, so we can slowly start. So again, being very mindful of all of your time. A very warm welcome to a webinar, what we call a career talk, with our very special guest, Lilia Kohl. Lilia, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Very much looking forward to this one today. Thanks for all of you having tuned in. Before we go on what we're going to talk about today, just some general items. First off, we'll record this session and share it with all of you that participated actively afterwards. For questions, we highly encourage you. Let's make that interactive. We're small rounds, 20 to 30 people. Please use the Q&A window. You see it at the bottom. It says Q&A. Feel free to type it in there at any point in time. I'll moderate. Maybe I'll ask you in between, Lilia. Maybe I'll ask you in the end, but we'll definitely leave enough time to ask questions in the end. And now, getting started. Topic today is women in sales. I would put that in bracket. Yeah, how to advance your career in sales. I think most people that registered are women. If you are not, please stay. Very important. I think Lilia's tips and best practices apply to everyone working in sales. We will talk about, Lilia, your journey, a team viewer, where you pretty much made your tech sales career 9 years. Common challenges, maybe being a first-time manager, learnings of being a first-time manager, tips how to advance your career. And I know a very big topic for you is mindset in sales and how to master your inner game. Maybe especially relevant for women, but of course not only, but I know that's something that you're going to talk about. And now, without further ado, let me introduce you briefly. So today you are a sales leadership and sales trainer, sales leadership coach, sales trainer, amongst others, also at Highrise. So very happy to have you train our trainees and companies that work with us. Think you started your career actually in retail, what I saw, but you'll talk about that in a minute. And then broke into tech sales at a company called TeamViewer. Maybe you can say a little bit more about what they do. And I counted 6 promotions in 9 years. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. I saw that on LinkedIn, where you started as a sales representative. Then you were a team lead for one region in Europe. Then you were a sales director EMEA. And then you ended up in the end as global director training and development. So quite an impressive career. And without that, Lilia, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dominic, for the introduction. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to share my personal story with you. Are there any men at all in the?
You know, I will check. I will check. I am not seeing any so far while I'm scrolling through the list. There are 1 or 2 names where I don't know if with the gender 100%, but I think if so, 1 or 2, but mostly it's women. Yeah.
Anyhow, so really happy to have this great opportunity to share my personal story, share my learnings in my journey. Of course, also at TeamViewer, and also give you some tips on how to advance your career. Yeah, you asked where I started my career. I started as a call center agent, where I did like over 100 calls. a day. You can imagine how challenging or exhausting that was,
Oh
because
yeah.
that was a kind of call center where when you hang up the phone, the next number will be called automatically.
Ah.
And you have
Okay.
like 20 seconds time to calm down, focus on the next call. And I did it, I think, like, I don't know, 8 months, but it was really a great school for me.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. So, and then I continued my journey in retail, shoes. It was a
Mm-hmm.
shoe company, and I had, like my first leadership experience there. And then I decided to go to university, finished my studies in business administration, and then continued my career at TeamViewer. And yeah, as you said, I was there for 9 years. So maybe you are asking, okay, why did you spend there such a long time? For me, it was a really, really interesting time. It was a time where I had many great opportunities to learn, to develop myself further. Of course, there were also quite many challenges I went up, but I will also come to that later. I started as a sales representative. After 1 year, I had this great opportunity to take over a team. And then after a while, I was also promoted to a sales director. I was responsible for the EMEA team, where the biggest challenge at that time was to migrate perpetual customers. So at that time, there were perpetual customers to a subscription model. And that was also a very, quite challenging, but also excited time. And I was known also as a change maker. I was responsible also for we called it in the past, sales operations team. I also rebuilt it, implemented some processes, and also was responsible for the training and development team. As I've been, you want to say?
Maybe, Leah, can you say, changing from retail into sales, what made you decide for that? And I'm just asking that because obviously that's many people that we help launch careers in tech sales have a retail background. So it's usually good training. You've dealt with people before, you've grown a thick skin dealing with people's rejection at times and unfriendliness. What's made you get into tech sales?
Into tech sales specifically, or sales in general?
Well, let's say maybe sales at first, and then why was it TeamViewer, or was it just happened by accident?
That happened actually by accident.
Okay.
Then I went to TeamViewer. I just applied. I was looking for jobs after I finished university, and then I was there, and I just met the team. And what I loved about the team, it was so international. People spoke different cultures. It was a high energetic team, and I thought, okay, I will stay here. I want to stay here. I see big potential here for me in my career. And why sales? Because I love to talk to other people. I love to win other people. I love to have these connections. And I also think when you can work in sales, you can work everywhere, because you learn so much, and it has so much to do with psychology. How to talk to people, how to win the trust of the people, how to also convince them. And I can also highly recommend to do that, to start the career in sales, because of that.
Right. And Leah, I know I don't want to bomb your agenda. I know you're
Okay.
getting started, but there's one question, maybe it's the one that people are most curious about, and I was curious about it, and I want to start right at the beginning. Is did you feel, now reflecting on your time, Leah, and I know it's a picky topic, but that's why I want to ask it. Did you feel that you had a more challenging time, or any other I don't know, any other blockers to your career because you were a woman in a man-dominated world, which tech sales still is today, unfortunately?
Never.
Yeah.
Never. And I hear that from other women. I hear that also from other companies, and I'm really thankful that it was not the case in the companies I worked. And I also think it has a lot to do with ourselves and our thinking. Maybe you heard this kind of some people say like a glass ceiling. Women cannot move forward. They cannot get further in their career come further in the career because there is like a glass ceiling which is stopping them. And I think, of course, for sure, it can be the case for some companies where it's like going on still like old school and still men dominated, for sure. But I think it has a lot to do with our mindset. So I've never seen this glass ceiling, never. And I took completely responsibility for my career. And I'm the one who is building it. And of course, you need people who support you. And this is one of the tips I can give. But there was never this glass ceiling. I never realized it.
Great. Happy to hear. And maybe some of the people now having joined or listening saying, I feel a little bit differently. Maybe I have a bit different experience. But maybe that's something that you can share, Lilia, what tips, but that's what we're here to talk about today. So really looking forward to what you have to share.
I also heard it from many women, many coaches as well. That they have this topics, and I know it's a big topic still. Unfortunately, a big topic in many companies.
Great. So without further ado, anything that you want to share now? I did bomb your agenda, asking the question at the beginning because I was so curious, but feel free to lead through however you want to lead through.
What can I say before I share my slides? So I've been always a fan of personal development, sales and coaching. And that's why at some point I went on maternity leave, and then I also started coaching apprenticeship and came back, and I just realized for myself, okay, I think I reached everything that I wanted to reach here. And for me, it's not time now to leave. And it was not an easy decision, but I also knew, okay, I want to develop myself further. I'm going now and take over the next challenge.
Great.
As you introduced myself already, and now I'm a sales and leadership coach and supporting sales leaders, teams, and sales professionals in their growth. So what I want to talk about today are the common challenges. I will share quickly my slides with you.
Perfect.
Second. Okay, good. So common challenges and how to overcome them. What are my learnings also of being a first-time manager? What has it also to do with mindset? How does mindset, what impact has your mindset on your career? And what tips can I give you in order to advance your career?
Maybe one question before we do that, to all of you. Maybe raise your hand quickly if all the participants. I mean, we have 35 people now joined. Who of you is leading a team already? I think that'd be interesting. Great. I think we have 4 hands raised, 5, 6, 7, and counting. Right. So we have at least 10 hands raised, Lilia. Okay, just so you know that we do have managers, be it first time or later in the stage in the call.
Okay. Good. I can continue?
Absolutely. Please do.
Yeah. Okay. So common challenges. For me, it was like I was there for 1 year, and there was this job description I saw as a team lead, and I just thought, no, I cannot apply for this position because I'm here for 1 year. I don't have that much experience, and also had this kind of self-doubts, like, am I good enough for that? Can I do that after this short period of time? And then there was a dinner, and the head of sales asked me if I saw this job description. And I saw that as a sign for myself, and I thought, like, after the dinner, I was really excited and thought, okay, I want to do that. I will apply for this position, informed my boss the next day and did that. And this was the decision I never regret. And yeah, I took over the team. But of course, I was excited, but there were also quite many challenges. So the one challenge was myself, like my doubts about that. The other challenge was that I had like, yeah, I wasn't part anymore of the team I worked for in my role as a sales representatives. And some of them also, yeah, I would say were not amused, but like, okay, why is she now a team manager and not me? I'm longer here in the company and so on. And unfortunately, there were also, yeah, women in the new team manager team that I was part of, yeah, who were also not amused that I was promoted. And for me, it was not an easy time at all. The team was also quite challenging. There were good people, but there were also people who were not motivated. There were, yeah, cultural conflicts between the team members, and also they were not that sales driven because, yeah, at that time also the company was not like there where the company is, yeah, or was a couple of years later. So for me, it was really, yeah, it was not an easy time. It was the most challenging time. Also, the question like, hey, what can I do like the first 100 days? Where can I start? And of course, I had a great supervisor, and she supported me a lot. But for me, it was still like, okay, how can I do that? How can I handle that situation? And that's why I also shared this picture. What can I control and what can't I control? And this was something that I really tried to focus on. What can I control? So starting with my own mindset, like what are my strengths? Why am I here? There is a reason behind it that I'm here, that I have this great opportunity. What are the things that I cannot control? I cannot control what other people also think, and that they have a problem with that. And I really focused on, yeah, getting the best out of the team. Means like I talked to everyone. I wanted to understand their purpose, their motivation, their drive. I implemented processes and so on, and clear goals. And I focused on, yeah, getting the best out of it.
Is there anything specifically, where to first-time managers now in the call where you can say, start doing that today? Is it an exercise? Is it a routine? How did you overcome those challenges that you faced, especially, internalizing what is in my control and what is not? Because I think rationally everyone says, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But how is there any way that you can practice that you, I don't know, black out all those negative emotions or what other things about you that may make you feel you're not in the right place? How did you do that?
I'm a big fan of visualization techniques, and this is also something I will talk later about. That means like imagine your perfect day, imagine your end result, but also accepting your emotions that you have, and creating a clear vision what you want to achieve. So why are you here? What is your purpose, and where do you want to go, and what do you need for that? And remind myself that I'm good, and that I have like even when there are 2-3 people who are there and they are supporting you, I'm focusing on them. I'm focusing on them who are lifting me up, who are supporting me.
Great.
Does this answer the question?
Absolutely. Yep.
So and nowadays all good. Yeah, I mean, I think these people were also like unexperienced, young, and it was like a new situation for them, and also maybe didn't reflect themselves, yeah, in that moment. And we are all human, so all good. Yeah.
Right. So did you manage to get that team behind you in the end, that first team that you just described?
So there were people who stayed, and there were people who took over a different role.
Okay.
Because of their skills, and this is also part of it. And this is also the second challenge I'm talking about. restructuring a team within a short period of time. So I also took over a team where was a team member where I actually started, and the challenge was to rebuild it within, yeah, actually a short period, a really short period of time, and at the same time implement a subscription model. And there were also quite many beliefs like, is it really working in the DACH market? Yeah, will they accept it? So of course, it was also a pressure that I had or that I felt. And at the same time, also to increase the numbers. That was also the other challenge. And to have your team behind your back. And this is what I definitely reached in this situation. So at the end of the year. And what I did here, again, I talked to everyone. And this is what I can highly recommend, is to understand their vision, to understand their purpose. Why are they in sales? What is their motivation? And then creating an environment of fun, of success, programming each other to success, celebrate the wins, and creating a sales-driven organization. Yeah, and this is what I did at this time. And that was actually the biggest success, because we were the greatest team. The greatest team. We had a lot of fun. We had many achievements. And I can remember that it was like, one of the best achievements in my life, when I finished the year.
Perfect. And you, Lilia, let me know if anything that's too sensitive information, that please feel free not to share. Because you said structuring a team within a short period of time, that must be an incredible challenge as a first-time manager. Did that and also include that putting people in new roles? Is that what I understood, right? Where maybe they add more value, or maybe where they help do that. How did you do that? Because that must be incredibly challenging when you take over and you say, listen, I once asked one of my senior leaders, hey, he came in getting a team that was there already. And I would ask him, hey, if you were to build a team from scratch, would it be the one that you had today? And he answered, no. And then I asked him, then why is it the team that you still have today? And then if you took that over, you rebuilt the team that you thought you needed to have success. Is that right? Meaning
So
did you bring in new people, or you
yeah,
put other
partially,
people
yes,
in
of
new
course.
positions?
Yeah, of course. This is also part of it, of course. I mean, it doesn't mean like when you take over a team, you need to look into every person and understand where the person's strengths are. And sometimes they are not in sales. And this is normal. This is also part of the business. And especially when in a SaaS environment, the culture or the priorities can change.
Right.
And that's why you need to adapt, and that's why, of course, you are looking into the strengths of everyone. And this, I would say, is like one of my biggest personal strengths, to see a situation and clearly see, okay, what is working well, where are the people who you can support and how you can support them. And and of course, there are also maybe people who just don't fit because of the attitude. And the good thing is there are other jobs, and where they feel much more comfortable. And maybe they're also and I know also many people start in sales and then they think like, oh, okay, actually it's not that what I was looking for. And now realize, okay, I feel much more secure, or say comfortable in marketing or customer success. I don't know.
By the way, everyone, for the ones that tuned in later, please feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom. Okay, to your bottom right, it should be, to ask questions anytime. Yeah, please take advantage of that. Last question on this one, Lilia, is that I think one of the things that's new once you're a first-time manager is leadership stuff that you have, like talking to your team, having personal development conversations, having performance reviews. How did you handle that? Did you get support? Did you get help? Did you read up on that? But how did you learn how to do that?
At that time, of course, you don't have like this big in a start company, you know that, I mean, when it's like only a few people, it's not that you have like a big training development team, right? And that's why, what did I do? I talked, not at the very beginning, but I reached out to people from other departments, people who were in a higher position. I talked to my supervisor. I'm really thankful that I always had like great supervisors in the last company. And I have a coach since I'm 20, an external coach, and I have different coaches actually. So, and this is also really, really important. Yeah. And of course, books can help, but you learn from your mistakes, right? I mean, you can read a book, you can prepare yourself in how to structure a one-on-one or how to structure a team meeting, but you learn from practice, and this is so important. And look for role models, look how other people do that. Yeah, this is how I did it.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. So
Okay.
feel free to move on.
Good.
Yeah, don't be stopped by my questions.
Okay. So what are the learnings? For me, personally, when I'm looking back, everything or leading starts with leading yourself. I mean, I'm sure you heard already about that, but I still can, just emphasize how important that is. It means like having the ability to reflect yourself. Reflect yourself means what are your values in your role as a leader? What are your strengths? Really being clear about that. What are your areas for development? And the more you are aware of that, the better you can lead, and the more will accept also the team, or you will get the acceptance from the team. The same with creating also a growth mindset. Mistakes are fully okay. This is part of the job. Don't take it too much serious. Time management is also, of course, I mean, that was also the topic, like, okay, I need to organize myself. I have a team now. I need to structure myself. I need to organize the one-on-ones, the meetings, and so on. Of course, this is also part of that. Leading yourself first means also, especially again in the SaaS environment, it's also so important to adapt to the changes. And you need to first adapt to the changes before you expect it from the team. And this was actually the biggest or the most required skill in this period of time. This was also one, And making mistakes, as I said, like don't take it serious. It's fully normal. You learn from your experience. And situational leadership was also a topic for me, because to understand, I mean, you heard also different leadership styles, I'm sure, and there is not a specific one. It depends on the situation, depends on the person you are responsible for. You need to adapt. Is this a person who is highly motivated, can do already a lot, is highly experienced? Or is it a person who, maybe doesn't have the attitude that is needed at the moment? So here you have to distinguish. And as I said, also a good supervisor makes a huge difference. And I'm really thankful that I had like the supporting system, because the goal is clear for everyone. You need to reach the goal for sure, but how you do that, it's up to you. And I'm really thankful that I had this opportunity to create like my own way to reaching the goal.
Yeah, you put on there as the second one, people before numbers.
Yes.
Build trust. And just this question, because I can imagine many people now listening say, yeah, of course, everyone says that, but is that not a one thing to have rather than what's actually lived in an organization? So do you maybe have an example, Lilia, of where that can be applied and how putting people before numbers?
You need to start with focusing on people. It's not like I don't so it's not about like, okay, people, I mean, of course, people are more important than numbers. I mean, like from the very beginning, you need to first meet the team and build the trust before you talk about numbers. That's what I wanted to say. And not like, okay, when the people are great, but the numbers are not good, this is a different story. Then you need to talk, of course, with them. But in the beginning, you need to talk to the people first. When you don't talk to the people, when you don't gain their trust, then it will be difficult to lead through numbers.
How did you personally do that, Lilia? How did you build their trust?
That's what I said at the very beginning. I spent time with them. I spent time with them means like in the one-on-ones, I really want to understand, as I said, like what their motivation is, what their challenges are. I was a role model, means like also I just not, I did, or how can I say? I walk the talk, yeah.
Perfect.
Nutshell.
Great.
And this is so important. And then, of course, when you communicate something, then you need to commit to that. Yeah, and that was also very clear in the communication. So these are the goals, these are the challenges. What can we do? And I gave a fan of giving as much freedom as possible. So this is our goal, but how you achieve it, it's up to you.
I think that's also from personal experience here. What you said is trust comes before anything else, right? I mean, if you don't get people's trust, that they really believe that you have their interest at heart, that you're curious about them, that you're purely, or that you really do care about them, and anything else, nothing else that you do will be of that much value, because whatever you communicate, if you don't have the trust, you're not going to get them behind you, right? It's not perceived as a team. You're not going to get compliance. So I think there's no shortcuts to building trust. Yeah, that you need to invest the time to really spend time with them, and then the rest will follow. And I think that goes hand in hand with situational leadership, right? That you said that different people need different things at different times. Yeah, and I think you need to have that instinct and that feeling for the situation and what each person may need at that point in time.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
that brings us to a question. Joanna asked a question. Thank you. So with the pressure within sales, how did you manage the stress and pressure applied from senior management to you?
To myself? What did I do? Different techniques, like also meditation. Yeah, like I have like this routine. I implemented like this kind of routine that I put away my phone 2 hours before I go to bed. Just an example. I stopped. I did it at the beginning, yeah, but at some point I didn't read any emails anymore. Or in the morning, I think this is also not new here, like to creating a morning routine. For me, it's also important not to look at my phone. But it's like there will be always a kind of problems, yeah.
Yep.
And this is also normal. Yeah, you are there in order to fix stuff. So that's why I try to avoid it, and I try to meditate. I'm working with visualization techniques, and of course, it's not always easy to calm down. For sure, not. There are situations, yes, but I try my best in order because or I'm working on my unconsciousness. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
When you get that pressure from above, yeah, from senior management, and I think that applies to business, to sports. How are you communicating that to the team? Yeah, is that the different styles, right? Are you just letting it through directly to the team? Are you filtering it? Are you channeling it? How to redirect pressure that you get from management to your team?
I would never say like, yeah, this is something that the management accepted, yeah, or requested, for example, you need to do that and so on. So again, the communication depends on the person you have in your team. You have to adjust, but in a team meeting, I try to put it in a really positive frame, yeah, as good as it is. But of course, I try to make a clear message. Okay, this is the goal, and I try to get, of course, everyone also on board and explain. And this is also really important in change management, means like to communicate, okay, where do we want to go, and not why, but wohin, wofür, what for. Yeah, what for, not like why, because it looks back. So what for? What is the reason that we are going this direction? What are the benefits for us as a team and for the company? This is how I try to explain it.
Perfect. I think big point is what you said. Lead yourself first, number one, with the meditation techniques, how you deal with pressure, with sanity, right? Being mentally sane, being healthy. And I think generally in sales, it's still underestimated how important it is that you just, in order to be a good and self-balanced person and manager, right, you need to be mentally sane and safe. And I think that starts with yourself always, and finding the personal outlet that you need to be balanced.
Yes.
Perfect.
And this is for everyone completely different. Yeah, for me, it's also like my personal health. It's like the food that I'm eating. Yeah, it's also really, really important. Healthy food, fresh food, sports, of course, and then you feel completely different, and the team also feels it.
Great. Perfect.
Okay. Then, yeah, talking also about about mindset. Not sure if you ever heard about the Iceberg model. I'm sure you have, but I will explain it quickly. So above, you have like the conscious level, below the water and the unconscious level, and above is like everything that you see, everything that is like tangible, the sales techniques, the sales tools, the presentation tools, the presentation skills, and below the surface, this is your motivation. How motivated are you? How is your attitude? What are your values and what are your beliefs? And this affects the outcome. Has a huge impact on the outcome, on your success. And therefore, it's really important to think about your own beliefs. Not sure if you have ever thought about your own beliefs. Beliefs can be positive, beliefs like I'm a good salesperson, I'm strong, I'm good in closing. They can motivate you. They can motivate you to reach your goals. And there are also negative beliefs like I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough in closing, or yeah, I cannot apply for this position as a team manager because I have only 1 year experience. They steer you. These beliefs steer you, and they can affect your success. And that's why it's so important, first of all, to be aware of them, to realize, okay, this is my limiting belief. And this is what I'm using actually in my coaching session, how you can overcome these limiting beliefs. So first of all, you need to be aware of them. Then you ask yourself, okay, is it really true? Is it really true in each situation? Or were there situations in the past where, yeah, it was not the case? And maybe they also were good. That's why also the advantages. Yeah, maybe they secured you or protected you in a specific situation. And what are also the disadvantages? To what can they lead also when you continue believing that it's true? And then create a new positive belief. What could it be? Transform it into a new one. And you can create a new reality with that because, as I said, the beliefs are steering you. So you can learn all the leadership techniques, all the sales techniques, and they're for sure really, really important. But it starts with you. And maybe you heard also about a self-fulfilling prophecy, means like when you think, for example, I don't deserve the salary increase, then it can be you go into the meeting with your boss, and this boss will feel that you are somehow insecure, maybe because you are communicate it, yeah, in a maybe insecure way. And then it can affect the situation, it can affect the outcome, in that sense that your boss won't give you the salary increase. And that's why it's so important to be aware of them, and also use visualization techniques. Means like I see a white wall, I see the sentence, I see how I vanish it, I create a new one, I repeat it. I do that in the evening, I do that in the morning, I do that before I go into an important meeting. And the best way to do that is in the evening before you go to bed, because it's actually the best for unconsciousness. The same in the morning. So that's why it's not good to to watch any news or to look at your phone and read any emails. Don't do that, and create more like a new reality. Yeah.
Great. Love it.
Yeah, other techniques I can also recommend is before you go into a meeting, and this is what also, yeah, quite many sports people do, is visualize the end result. Means how do you feel at the end? You are maybe afraid of the meeting with your boss, so imagine how it ends and that you get the increase, and how you feel, that you are happy, that you are proud, that you feel good. And the other one is also, before you go into the meeting, see this person as your friend. He likes you and you like him or her as well. And this will also affect the communication, and most likely also the outcome, because the person will feel it.
And the beauty is that also promoting mindfulness training and everything that you're saying, right? So you're overcoming your limiting beliefs. Feelings come from thoughts, and thoughts come from your mind, and your mind can be trained. You know, once you realize that, and you understand that you can impact the way you feel by steering your thoughts, and that's something that you can train. You know, I think that's very powerful. So
Yes.
it can really be trained. Absolutely. And there's a question that came from Jessica. Thanks, Jessica, for sharing. That you mentioned in the beginning, if she understood right, that you had the hesitation that you were not ready enough or good enough yet for your first leadership position. How did you overcome those thoughts practically? What did you do?
So as I started, I still had them, right? I mean, I still felt insecure. I doubted myself quite often. It was a long process. How did I do that? I saw my first success. Means like, okay, there was this goal we reached. I had a successful person. We had a successful project. We won we were like number one. We had like different gamifications, and then we had we are the best team and so on. And then I created for myself also a success list. Yeah, you can do that in written form, or you can have that like in your mind. And that's what I did. And I repeated it myself every time, like, I'm good because of that, and these are my achievements.
Great. Perfect. I hope that answers the question, Jessica. A second question that came up, very interesting, I think. In your experience, Lilia, are these limiting beliefs more common for women than they are for men?
For sure, yes. Yeah. And I met so many women in my career, but also in my career as a sales coach, who have like this limiting belief, I'm not good enough. And maybe they are aware of that, and some of them are not aware, and they try to somehow hide it. And yeah, it's really true. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Yep. Great. And also looking at the time that we have 50 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whatever you definitely do want to get through, The questions are great. Keep them coming, everyone. Just so for you to know that. Feel free to continue.
Yeah, good. So tips to advance your career. As I said, everything starts with your mindset. Yeah. So be aware of your own strengths. Be aware of your development areas. Be aware of your values and especially your beliefs. Accept them. They are somehow part of you, and remind yourself, as you, Dominic, said, like the brain can relearn again, right? You can forget everything that you learned, and you can reprogram your brain and take fully responsibility for that. Communicate your goals means I always did it. I always said to my boss what I want to achieve in this company. I met so many women, I would also say more women, who expect from others that they know exactly where they want to go. But this is not the case. We cannot expect from our boss that he or she knows what our goals are, what our purpose is. We are fully responsible for our own career. So we create it and we need to communicate it. Yeah. I always ask for feedback, means from my team, from my boss, and also from my colleagues. And this is also great for you to reflect, okay, is this matching to that how I see myself, where my strengths are, my areas for development. A big topic is visibility, and I also have the feeling that quite many women have also a topic with that, with visibility, like thoughts like, okay, I cannot share my success. What do others think when I do that? Can I do that? Become visible. How can you do that? Take over projects, but don't get Arbeitsbiene, working bee. So you have to distinguish between what is important and what is not important. Is this is this a project that drives the success of the company, or is it something like just making notes in a meeting? Yeah, please don't be the one who is like doing the notes in the meetings. Yeah, I mean, you won't get praise for that. So I always knew, like, okay, what are the priorities? Yeah, of course, numbers are always the priorities, but you need to see, okay, is it like maybe upselling? Is this a product that is not working well numbers wise? Take this project and communicate your achievements with it, and you will get the visibility from the company. Yeah. Being proactive, also really important, means when you have ideas, when you see something that is not working well, share that. Challenge the status quo. I always did that. Like there's the sentence like, yeah, but everything that we did in the past like was the best. And no, really challenge that and talk to the people and contribute to the success. Yeah. I mentioned that in the beginning, the support system. It's also really important that the environment, your direct environment, has a huge impact on your success and how you feel. And that's why look for people who lift you up. That can be your colleagues, that can be friends, that can be a mentor, that can be a coach. Look for networking opportunities. I always try to talk to people from different departments where sales also had touch points, means like marketing, customer success, product management. Go for lunch with them, drink a coffee with them, understand their challenges. And the other one is also just do it. And this is what I also learned in my career. I would also say many women have this like, can I do that? Can I say that? Are not that secure to, just to start something. And also I just reached out to Dominic and asked if I can do like a Women in Sales series, some like a kind of project. Or yesterday I also had a speech about authenticity in sales. So I reached out to Mentor Me. This is a German NGO for mentoring. And this is also what I did in the company. So I just tried things out, and this is what I can highly recommend to do. And maybe another one, choose the, it's not here on the list, but choose the right partner. And this is also something what is really, really important. Maybe you know the quote, behind every successful man there's a woman, right? And the same for us. It's so important to have someone. And a couple of weeks ago I had a meeting with a potential customer, and it was like a leadership training, and it would take place in Singapore, and I would be there like 4 times for 4 days or 5 days. Yeah. And I thought like, oh my God, how can I do that? I have a small kid. How is this possible at all? And I shared it with my husband, and he said, of course, you need to take this opportunity. This is a big company. It's an international company. I will support you. And this is something that is so important, that you really have your support system and your partner who's helping you to use these opportunities, and maybe once in a lifetime opportunities. Yeah.
So many great things on there, Lilia, and really meaning that. And again, their mindset and having, or most of them that you mentioned here on the list, I'm just scanning, then still have to do with mindset, with smart choices, with being strategic in the choices that you make, you know, and having that initiative of just doing it, you know, which I think is great, because those are all things that we can influence. It's nothing to do with the very specific sales leadership skill that you need to have. You know, I think lots of things like being proactive, just doing it, is taking charge, taking control. And that I think is good news to everyone here, right? Because those things will give you visibility, again, for smart choices, right? For important projects that will give you the visibility, that will then lift you up in your career and put you in a good position. Some questions that we have for the remaining time. Do you think, as manager, you should be available for your team 24/7?
No.
All the time? Good.
No.
That came out quickly. How do you do that? How do you set boundaries for work-life wise?
Good question. For me, it was difficult at the beginning, really, to set boundaries. I didn't set boundaries at the beginning, and this was my learning. Also, I didn't put it on the forgotten to put it on the slide, but this was a really tough one, because I was highly ambitious, highly motivated, and I had like this limiting belief of I need to work hard, in order to be worth it, for example, and I really, really worked hard at the beginning. Means like I read my last email at 11 p.m. and so on, and read my first one at 6 in the morning and so on. I stopped it because it's not healthy. At some point I realized, okay, it's not healthy, it's not productive. And again, it starts with your mindset, means that you are allowing yourself to put these boundaries. And I know that's still, as especially there are men and women. I would not say especially men. I wanted to say that, but no, I think that's not the case. Both, they are not allowing themselves to set these boundaries in the management world, because they think they are worth it when they are busy, need to be busy. And it took me a long time to set these boundaries. Means good. Like what I did first is to reply to an email the next day when it came like 4 p.m. or for example, or I distinguished between the important questions and the not so important questions.
There's a difference, right, between being productive and being busy. You know, it's the first one. And the second layer, really important to consider for you asking the question, is you set a precedent and you send a signaling effect also as manager if you respond at any point in time. Meaning, it's about transparency and communicating that clearly. If we're in a remote organization at High-Rise, for example, if I choose to work on a Saturday or Sunday and I send a message to my team member, I immediately send a message that's expected of you as well.
Correct.
Which is not good, you know, which is culturally, we don't want to send the message. That's something I personally had to work on as well. Think what that communicates to your team in expectations. So if you're available all the time, they need to be available all the time, and that leads to maybe burnout or whatever that is, fatigue. So personally, I would recommend clear guidelines or to transparently communicate when you're available, and that for emergencies you're available beyond that and what these emergencies are. Yeah. And I think that makes it very easy to understand for everyone. Maybe one of the last questions from Jessica, that, you know, mindset is a very personal thing, and most people work on it privately if they work on it. She's experienced that it's extremely helpful to pull in the team and team members, helping them cheer them up, helping her see what she's successful in and not what she herself thinks she is not successful in. Have you done that, Lilia? Have you done team sessions, team mindset formats? Can you do them?
And I didn't do that. But my vision is to implement it in the companies, and this is completely missing.
Any idea on how to do that? How to structure it? How would I set a meeting in the calendar? Hey, let's work on mindset. So how do we do that? Any ideas?
I would start first in asking them, like, hey, what are the topics that you are interested at the moment when it comes to mindset? What are your challenges at the moment? Yeah. And priorities. And then I would maybe start with something like explaining the iceberg model. This is something that I'm using in the coachings, that this is the first step. I'm explaining it. Okay, why is it so important? Because it steers you. And then you can start with limiting beliefs. Of course, it's something personal, but everyone can do that for himself, means writing it down. And also using visualization techniques. But I know that many are not ready for that.
Would be a great trust building exercise also, right, among the team. Well, one last question, unrelated to what we talked about now, but did you have negative experiences with a difficult manager? And how did you handle that when you're in the dependencies relationship?
Different code manager?
No. You have negative experiences with a manager. So somebody you're reporting to, and maybe you had a hard time dealing with the person, gave you a hard time, was difficult of a relationship. Have you had that?
I had that.
And how did you handle it?
It's for me, it's a really a long time ago. How would I handle that? I would clearly communicate how I perceive this person, how it makes me also feel, and how it affects my work, and if there's an opportunity to change that. And depending on what this person is doing and saying, I'm not in this situation. And if it's not changing, I would also maybe talk to his boss, honestly. And if this is not working, then I'm a fan of also love it, change it, or leave it, honestly.
Right. So talk to the person first, especially about how it makes you feel, how it affects you. And then if there's no change, maybe address their management, and if not, change the situation.
Yeah.
Great. Perfect. With the end of the time, it's 2 minutes to 12. Okay. I'd rather finish it a little bit early than finish a little bit late. For all of you, feel free to reach out to Lilia on LinkedIn. Otherwise, or feel free to reach out to me or High-Rise if you have any other questions on leadership, on training, on being a first-time manager, whatsoever. So please feel free to reach out. Thanks a lot, Lilia, for your time, for sharing your experiences, for sharing tips, and all of you for having tuned in, for having asked, for having made this an interactive session. We'll be back in a month from now, I think beginning of October, with a session on AI use cases for sales, also extremely relevant. Feel free to check back. Stay tuned on LinkedIn with High-Rise, and have a good rest of the week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.